Hello and welcome to this weather update, and you can see there's a lot of heat advisories on the map today due to the heat that is coming. And I'm going to take a look first before we get started at the weather briefing about this heat, and you can see certain areas are either in a heat advisory like Long Island, other areas are in an excessive heat watch, and some areas are in an excessive heat warning. So if I pan this further south into the New Jersey area, an excessive heat warning is in effect for Trenton, Philadelphia, and this whole area. I honestly think that's going to need to be extended into Ocean County as well, looking at some of the data that's going to be going on there with the heat. But today we had no sea breeze today on Long Island for the most part. Some areas further out east in Suffolk County got a sea breeze, but not here in Nassau. I felt like we're in Tom's River. Thank you, Tom's River, for bringing the heat here, but you can keep it. Anyway, let's take a look at the weather briefing, and then I will get to the current conditions outside and what this weekend looks like. And of course, I will continue to provide weather updates on this channel. So, we're going to continue to talk about the weather. It's something I'm interested in. I've been interested in for a long time, and followed and actually, educated myself a lot about meteorology. I enjoy kind of taking a look at what the atmosphere is doing. So we have a dangerous heat expected through the weekend and into the 4th of July. The main impacts, all right, this is going to be depending on where you're at. Heat advisory impacts, all right. Heat index 95 to 100. Extreme heat can cause illness and death among those who are at risk in the population who cannot stay cool. And the location for that heat advisory is going to be Passaic, Union, Hudson, Bergen, Essex, Orange, Putnam, Rockland, Westchester, and Nassau. All right, and it starts at noon tomorrow. Now, why are there two heat? All right, there's two here. Heat advisory. There's a misprint there. That's coastal Connecticut and Suffolk, so it's the same thing. Heat advisory. The excessive heat watch, which will probably be upgraded to a warning, is heat index up to 107. So it will include most of New Jersey, Rockland, Westchester, Nassau, and inland southern Connecticut. So unfortunately, we are involved in that, and that starts at 12 p.m. on Sunday. So unfortunately, like I said, Nassau is going to bake here, which is why you might want to be traveling away from this area for the weekend. The summary of greatest impacts. The heat advisory is significant, and the excessive heat watch is extreme. So these are the max heat values Saturday afternoon. So Saturday afternoon still won't be too bad. It'll be 90s. The worst of heat, look at Freehold, 98. That's what I mean. That area is going to make a run at 100 tomorrow. New Jersey is going to be absolutely horrible. And then look at Sunday. These are the heat index values for Sunday. The heat index values for Sunday afternoon, you see where it's going to start feeling, because we're going to get the humidity in here, like it's 100 or more in Nassau County. But it won't be as bad on the east end. But the worst of it, again, is going to be in New Jersey. All right? Monday afternoon, we're still continuing this. All right? Monday afternoon, we're still dealing with very uncomfortable heat index values. All right? 100 degrees, Freehold index, really oppressive. And then going through July 4th, we're still seeing heat indexes on July 3rd of near 100 in parts of Long Island, in parts of Nassau County, and of course New Jersey. And yeah, the same thing for July 4th, maybe slightly cooler. So we see no relief in sight according to this. So dangerous heat and humidity beginning Saturday for portions of the tri-state. Heat index values of 95 to as much as 107 during the peak of the heat. Sunday for the entire tri-state. And prolonged period of heat index values of at least 95 expected through the 4th of July. Heat index related illness is possible through this time period, especially for the at-risk populations, such as the elderly, very young, and those with mental illness. Yes, I can't take the heat. Very interesting they put that up there. Weather Service, I really got to give them a real credit for recognizing that, because most people don't. And it's very good. So the contact and the next briefing will be at 5 a.m. Saturday, and this just gives you the websites and places you can get to the Weather Service. But anyway, next we are going to look at what's going on outside right now. Okay, so we're looking at a map of the temperatures here at the Wonderfail site, and you can see we do have a map of the temperatures, but the rest of it didn't fill in. So, but I can give you the current conditions for Mineola. So it says according to 1 to ground, it's 89 degrees at Mineola. At the station here. Okay, unfortunately, one the map is not working correctly, so we're going to look at the temperatures doing it this way through the Weather Service website. Here, 84 degrees at Farmingdale, and we see that there is a sea breeze now at Farmingdale at southwest at 7 miles an hour. The dew points are lower than yesterday, but still kind of high, 65, so still a little humid, but not like yesterday. Islip's at 82 right now, and 81 at Gabreski Airport. 65-degree dew point, and if we go to the city, you'll see it's hotter there in Central Park, 86. That's more like what we're seeing in Mineola right now, because we don't have a sea breeze here. 60 degrees, and Toms River, always the hot spot, 88 degrees, and they actually have the lowest dew point though, 59. So they're actually they are actually getting dry air today. We're going to take a look and see what the highs were today at all the major observation stations today. So it looks like Farmingdale got up to 87 degrees. Actually, no, 88 right here. You can see the 89s. Probably did get close to 90 in the late afternoon of Farmingdale because there was not a sea breeze. You could see northwest winds. It didn't really develop until the early evening hours. Well, let's take a look at Islip and see what they actually got up to. 88, 88. So it may have gotten been a little cooler. It looks like the sea breeze got to them a little earlier. In the mid-afternoon. And Gabreski Airport out in West Hampton, yeah, it hit 88 there. So we still got into the heat here because the sea breeze didn't kick in until later, but there was a sea breeze for some lucky areas, but unfortunately none here in Mineola. And let's see what Central Park got up to, 88. So it looks like it got up to 88, 89 degrees over here. And Toms River, let's see, because they're at 88 right now. Let's see. Yeah, much hotter in Toms River, 92 degrees in Toms River. So even with not much of a sea breeze, it was still hotter in Toms River, 92 degrees, and no sea breeze at all there whatsoever. So not the place you want to be, and not the place you're going to want to be over the weekend because it's probably going to hit 100 there, or very close to it, Saturday or Sunday. I'm using the National Weather Service site, which I guess I'm going to have to start getting used to with Wonderground not working correctly. Let's zoom this in a little bit here. It doesn't have as many access to as many observation points, but you can see here 81, 78 at Kennedy, 81 at Farmingdale, 79 at Islip, 81 at Shirley, 77 at Hampton Bays. This does have a few more observations, 80 in East Hampton, 82 in Montauk, surprisingly. Much cooler out here. You go out to Block Island. That's the place you want to be. 73 degrees at Block Island. That, my friends, is the place you want to be. You want to be out on the Cape. Look at that, 70s. That's nice. They got a nice sea breeze because they got, because of their location, because the water's a little cooler there. We're going to talk about water temperatures in this update too. And you go inland, you go to the city, it's mid-80s, 86 degrees. And of course, Toms River, their observation actually is Toms River down to 84. So maybe it did just wind up dropping at 8 o'clock while we're doing this. So I'm going to go over Toms River and see. There is Miller Air Park. So it's down to 84 now at Miller Air Park. And we can go look at Monmouth too, Belmar Farmingdale. It's 85. So the humidity is not going to be too bad today or tomorrow, but the heat is definitely going to be up there indeed. Okay, we're looking at sea surface temperature anomalies here on the Earth Null School website, just to show you the water temperatures, what they are, and the water temperatures are already getting quite warm. We're looking mainly at the Atlantic. You can see there's a real stripe of very much above normal water right over here, very much above normal water over here, and maybe some below normal off the Cape, but by and large we have a lot of above normal water. As you see, a lot more red than blue, which means it's well above normal, well above what it's supposed to be. So that's why it's fueling this heat, and it's only going to get worse. Now, if we go look at the summary, you'll see some of the observations here from some of the buoys. New York Harbor entrance, water temperatures already 71. These water temperatures are well above. Not supposed to see 71 until late July, so we're about a month ahead of the water temperatures being well above normal, and that's going to make it warmer and more humid as well. So even the buoy southwest of Montauk Point, 23 nautical miles, 68 degree water temperature. So very warm water temperatures. I'm sure, the swimmers will like it. You know what I mean? If people want to go in the water at the beach, but it is not normal to see water temperatures this warm, and that does not bode well for the hurricane season. And we will once again be looking at the computer models, and I kind of have it zoomed in on our area so you can see. This is going to be the GFS forecast for the weekend. So we're going into Saturday, which is going to be very hot across the area. You could see some really hot temperatures over here. The hottest areas are probably going to be Toms River, where they're going to get close to 100 degrees. Long Island is a little cooler. We're mainly in the 90s, mid 90s. But there could be a sea breeze right along the South Shore. And now let's go into Sunday, which will be even worse. You see the 100s here. There's some areas that could hit 100 degrees. I'm thinking, interior, the North Shore, Nassau County, New York City, into central New Jersey. Could make a run at 100, even all the way up into here. But boy, wouldn't you like to be on the Cape? The Cape is only in the 70s and maybe low 80s, as well as the East End. Boy, would I love to be in the Cape right now, to avoid this heat. That's really the place to go if you want to avoid the heat. Whoops, I do apologize for that. Hit the wrong button. That's what happens. And we go into Monday here, and heat continues. So GFS continues the heat into Monday, and let's see, we see a relief Tuesday, continues into Tuesday. Looks like it's a little better on Long Island, but inland it's going to be bad. So same thing for Wednesday. It continues. Thursday it continues. There's really almost no relief in sight to this. Friday it continues. It's not until maybe Saturday it starts backing down. So it's going to be a hot July. It always gets hot around July 4th. That's something I've noticed around July 4th. I mean, very rare is it cool around July 4th. It's always hot. I've noticed that. It's like one of those things, So it's the GFS, and we can take a look at the anomaly and see how much of an anomaly these temperatures are in our area. And you can see we are well above average. Look at this though. They're actually a little bit below average over here in Maine. And Maine is another place I'd like to be. Look at see how much hotter it is Sunday. That's white. That's like 12 degrees above normal, and this is 12 degrees Celsius above normal. All right. So these are some really huge anomalies going on here. Just another sign of climate change. I know it is summertime, so I guess it is supposed to get hot, but again, when you see more hot than cool, that's the climate change aspect of it. There's always more red on the map than blue, and that's the climate change aspect of it. Let's go ahead and we're going to look at the NAM model, see what that does. All right, I'm going to start off with the anomaly here, because this is kind of interesting. This is the NAM model. So as we go into Saturday, there's almost like a blue area that's, again, off the South Shore of Long Island here, which is very interesting. I'm sure that goes away as we hit the afternoon. No, not really. Look at that. Wow. So there might be a sea breeze over in this area, or backdoor front, or maybe a fog bank that might keep the South Fork cool. Interesting. Well, everybody else bakes. So we go into Sunday, a little hotter. You can see it's a little more hotter, but you still have that blue area. And that's where I think that backdoor front, there's the backdoor front right there. You see the blues moving in. So the NAM is still predicting this backdoor front to come through. And if we go and we look at the actual temperatures, you'll see it here. So let me back up. Here, you'll see the temperatures, the actual air temperatures. All right, so you'll see it heats up. The heat is really building over New Jersey and western parts of Long Island. But if you're out east on the Twin Forks, it's not that bad. So it actually has the temperatures only in the 70s on the South Fork. The NAM does. So that's interesting. And as we go into Sunday, it's the same thing. All right. Again, the worst heat's in New Jersey. On the South Fork, it's a lot better. And then look what happens as we head. You could see that backdoor front coming in right there. So, yeah, the NAM still is indicating this backdoor front that might come through and rescue us. At least Long Island. Toms River, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But, hey, at least that's what's going to be going on. So we'll wrap up this weather update with a look at the sky conditions. So here's a look at the sky conditions over our area. Mostly clear skies for the most part. These are cirrus high clouds, cirro crap. It wasn't really that hazy today, though. There was some cumulus clouds around and some cirrus, but not really anything that hazy. So this is the infrared satellite, so I want to look at what the higher resolution MODIS satellite has. So So here's a look at the higher resolution MODIS satellite. You can see there was a fair amount of cumulus that popped up over our area today. And what was interesting, actually, I'll have to look at the radar and show it to you. I'll do that later. You can see the cumulus over our area, and some cumulus over here as well, and some cirrus as well. You can see the cirrus a little more here. I'm looking to see if we can see that dust from Saudi Arabia that we were talking about yesterday. Oh, there it is. I meant from Africa. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow, you got a nice, look at that big cloud of dust coming off. Wow, that's a lot of dust. So yeah, that may start affecting, we may see some effects from that, because we have this ridge in place here. So that dust may wind its way up here and make for some unusual looking skies, which would be interesting to say the least. The other thing I wanted to show you, which I didn't show you yesterday actually, and I wanted to show it to you, if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. This was from yesterday's satellite image. And you can see this is the big island of Hawaii, and look at this. This is sulfur dioxide. Look at this huge sulfur dioxide plume coming off of Kilauea and the big island. So this is a lot of sulfur dioxide, and this, if you want global cooling, this is the kind of gas you want to have. Like I said, I think we're seeing an increase in volcanic activity, and that increase could affect the climate of the planet. We need to cool this planet down, so maybe we are seeing some divine intervention. It's not going to happen immediately, but that's a big plume of sulfur dioxide right there. And what sulfur dioxide does is it combines with the clouds in the atmosphere, and it forms these reflective particles that reflect the sunlight and cool the planet down. So that's a good amount of sulfur dioxide there. I'm still hoping that volcano will really blow its top and have a major eruption again, like it did in the 1920s. That would be that's really what we need. That's for sure. I know not for the people that live there. I know they're dealing with a lot of problems, but we need some help here to cool the planet down. And of course, the main thing is that people need to stop driving these huge pickup trucks and SUVs. There's no need for them. And you know, I was watching some videos last night about how islands in the Pacific are starting to go underwater because of this. And it's not fair that they're not the ones contributing to it. It's all of us in the developed nations that are contributing to this problem. Like I said, we should all be hybrid. No more trucks, no more SUVs. We got to get them off the road. But that's not going to happen right now with the current state of things. But anyway, the last thing that I want to show you, and if you look closely, you could see this right here, this little line right here moving across Long Island right here. And this is a sea breeze front. So this sea breeze front is progressing from south to north, and maybe eventually it'll reach central Nassau. But right now, Hicksville, Mineola, no sea breeze. But hopefully maybe later we can get a sea breeze, and maybe tomorrow we'll get some sea breeze. But if you really want to have a nice cooler sea breeze, you got to be right along the South Shore, and especially the East End, and that's where you're going to really have things a lot more comfortable. If it wasn't for all the I'm not going to use that word, but if it wasn't for all the crowds going out to the Hamptons, I would consider going out there myself, just because it was going to be cooler over there versus here. But anyway, that's it. So if you don't like the heat, stay inside or stay on the South Shore or on the East End where it's cooler. And if you do like the heat, well, enjoy it. But I'm not a big fan of this weather. So I am waiting for it to cool down once again, get a break. My idea of a nice summer day is temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s and low humidity and a nice breeze. That's my kind of summer day, not 90s and humidity. Anyway, that's it. Take care. Thank you for watching.